Everyone says dogs forgive everything, but that's not true. And those who say dogs just forget, they're wrong too. The truth is somewhere in between. And knowing that will make you look at your dog in a whole new way. Picture this: a dog sitting by a front door, patient, still, waiting. The same door his owner walked out of this morning without a word. The same owner who raised his voice last week, who forgot the evening walk, who came home stressed and took it out on the one creature in the room who couldn't understand why. And then the door opens, and the tail starts wagging. Not cautiously, not slowly, fully, completely, like none of it ever happened. You've probably seen this, maybe you've lived it. You snapped at your dog, you were gone too long, you made a mistake you still feel guilty about. And yet there he was, running to you like you were the best thing that had ever walked into his world. So the question sits there, quiet and a little heavy. Do dogs actually forgive us? Or have we completely misunderstood their loyalty all along? Most people fall into one of two camps when they think about this. The first belief is the comforting one. Dogs forgive everything. They're pure. They don't hold grudges. They love unconditionally, no matter what you do, no matter how many times you get it wrong. It's why we call them loyal. It's why people say dogs are better than most humans. The second belief is less romantic, but feels just as honest. Dogs don't actually forgive, they just forget. Their memory is short, they live in the present. What happened yesterday is already gone for them, so the wagging tail isn't forgiveness at all, it's just a brain that doesn't hold on to pain the way ours does. Both of these feel true. Both of them make a certain kind of sense. But what if both of them are wrong? What if forgiveness means something completely different to a dog than it does to a human, and we've been asking the wrong question this entire time? Stay with that for a moment. Before we can answer anything, we have to understand something fundamental about how dogs are actually built emotionally. Dogs are attachment animals. They don't just coexist with humans, they bond to them. Deeply, biologically, completely. Research into canine social behavior has shown that dogs form attachments to their owners that closely mirror the way human children attach to their caregivers. They look to us for safety. They regulate their own emotions through our presence. When we're calm, they settle. When we're anxious, they feel it too. This isn't metaphor, this is neuroscience. Dogs have limbic systems, emotional brains that process fear, joy, grief, and connection in ways that are meaningfully similar to our own. And here's the part that changes everything. Dogs form emotional memories, not intellectual ones, emotional ones. This means when something painful happens, a dog doesn't think about it the way we do. They don't replay the argument. They don't build a narrative around betrayal. But their nervous system remembers. The body stores what the mind can't put into words. So the question is not whether dogs remember being hurt. They do. The real question is, if they remember the pain, why do so many of them still come back? Think about what happens when a dog is physically punished. Not corrected punished, yelled at, startled with force. In that moment, the dog's nervous system enters a fear response. Heart rate spikes, the body tightens, the brain begins associating that person, that tone of voice, that energy with danger. This is called fear conditioning, and it's one of the most durable forms of learning in any mammal. It doesn't fade easily. Dogs who are repeatedly frightened by their owner begin to show it. The ears flatten before the owner even speaks. The tail drops when footsteps approach. The body offers appeasement, rolling over, looking away, making themselves small. These are not signs of a dog who has forgotten. These are signs of a dog whose nervous system is working overtime trying to stay safe around someone it no longer fully trusts. And yet, even these dogs often stay, often wait, often wag. That contradiction is the heart of everything. But here's the part that most people don't talk about. Not all harm looks like harm, and dogs can't tell the difference. Think about the mistakes that come from a good place, the vet visit that causes real pain, the necessary bath your dog absolutely hates. The time you were so caught up in your own grief that you didn't notice his signals? The night you fell asleep without the walk? These aren't cruelties, but the dog's nervous system doesn't have a category for unintentional. It only registers safe and unsafe, comfortable and uncomfortable, predictable and frightening. Can a dog separate pain from intention? That question matters more than almost anything else we'll cover today. Because if a dog can't read your motive, if the nervous system only logs what happened, not why, then what does it mean when they come back? When they choose you again? There's a dog named Bo, a rescue pulled from a situation no animal should ever live through. Multiple owners, multiple failures. By the time he arrived at his last home, he flinched at raised voices. He wouldn't eat in front of people. He slept pressed into corners. His trust had been broken so many times it had almost stopped being trust at all. And then something slow happened. Same person every morning, same gentle voice, same walk, same time. No pressure, no punishment, just presence, just consistency. Weeks passed, then months. And one afternoon, Bo walked across the room on his own and rested his head on a knee that had never hurt him. That wasn't forgetting. That was something else entirely. When a dog begins to rebuild trust after being hurt, something changes in the brain's chemistry. Oxytocin, the same neurochemical involved in human bonding, in the love between a parent and child, begins to flow between dog and owner when the relationship starts to feel safe again. Eye contact triggers it. Calm touch releases it. Shared routines sustain it. What we call attachment repair in human psychology has a real equivalent in dogs. The nervous system, once it begins to register consistent safety, slowly, not instantly, not automatically starts to reorganize around that safety. The fear doesn't vanish, it retreats. And in the space it leaves behind, something like trust moves back in. Now, here is the biggest question, the one this whole conversation has been circling. If forgiveness, real forgiveness, requires understanding intention, can a dog actually forgive at all? Forgiveness, the way humans practice it, is a cognitive act. It requires judgment. It requires a mental model of the other person's motives. It requires the ability to say, I know what you did. I understand why you did it. And I choose to release that debt. Dogs almost certainly cannot do that. They don't sit in the corner reconstructing your motives. They don't weigh your apology. They don't decide through moral reasoning to let something go. Which might mean they can't forgive. Or it might mean that what they do instead is something we don't have a good word for yet. Here is something that has to be said honestly. Not every dog comes back. Some dogs carry the damage too deep in their nervous systems to fully soften again. A dog who was harmed repeatedly, not once by accident, but consistently at the hands of someone they trusted, can develop fear responses that don't fully resolve. The hypervigilance stays. The flinching stays. And if you've ever looked into the eyes of a dog who can't quite settle, who watches your hands before they move, who never fully exhales, you've seen what that looks like. It doesn't look like forgetting. It looks like armor. Loyalty is real, but it is not infinite. Trust, once fractured past a certain point, doesn't always return to what it was. And pretending otherwise would be dishonest to every dog whose trust was taken apart piece by piece. So what is actually happening when the tail wags? When the dog who was left alone comes back to the door? When the dog who was frightened presses close again? When the dog who had every reason to give up on a person doesn't? Here's what the science carefully suggests. Dogs probably do not forgive the way humans forgive. There is no deliberate decision, no conscious release, no moment where the dog weighs your guilt and decides you've suffered enough, but they do something remarkable. They rebuild. When safety returns real safety, consistent and predictable, the dog's nervous system responds. Not because it has forgotten the hurt, but because attachment is so deeply wired into what a dog is that the pull toward bonding can survive damage that would end most human relationships. The dog at the door isn't forgiving you because he's worked through it. He's giving love another chance because that is, at the most fundamental level, what he is built to do. Trust returning after fear. Attachment surviving disappointment. The tail wagging not because the pain is gone, but because you walked through the door. And you are still, in his body and his brain, the center of his world. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe dogs don't forgive because they forget. Maybe they return because love matters more to them than keeping score. And if you think about what that really means, that an animal who remembers pain, who stores fear in its body, who experiences real loss and real confusion still comes running when you come home, that might be one of the most quietly beautiful things about them. Has your dog ever found their way back to you after a moment you weren't proud of? Tell your story in the comments. I read every single one.